Hi everyone, this is Crystal, and today I'm going to do a 12 by 12 layout using the cut file you just saw on the screen. It's another one from scrapbook.com. This is the calendar cut file, and when I saw it, I had a few ideas. I thought it would be fun to use it as the calendar page at the beginning of a December daily album, but I don't really need a calendar page for my December album this year or for the one I'm trying to finish up from last year. I also thought it would be fun to do kind of a December overview, but again, I felt like that was really similar to the layout I just did using the Advent tree cut file from scrapbook.com, where I did an overview of my favorite ornaments. So I didn't want to do that again. So I was trying to figure out something else I could do with this calendar cut file, and it occurred to me that I hadn't documented my dog's birthday. So this is a photo, actually two photos, of my dog Abby on her birthday in September of this year. It was September 6th. She turned 14, which is very special. So I wanted to get this documented. But when I decided to do that and then thought about what supplies I had, I kind of drew a blank because contrary to what you may think based on the recent birthday page that I did, I don't actually do a lot of birthday pages. I think this is maybe the third one I've ever done, and therefore I don't have a lot of birthday themed supplies. So I normally have a really good grasp of what's in my stash and what I can use for different layouts. But when it came to a birthday page, I drew a total blank. So what I did, I went to scrapbook.com, and you can search their products by theme. So I searched through their birthday themed products. So you just go to the menu, there's a themes item on the menu, and then there's a whole list of different themes. I clicked on birthday, and then it brought up all these different products that are in the shop that are birthday themed. And I wasn't shopping, actually. I was just looking for things that I already owned because I knew I would have something that came up in that list. And of course I did. I found several things. So let me show you, based on that search, what I was able to pull from my stash. So first off, I had this one sheet from an Echo Park collection called Party Time. I think this probably came in a kit at some point because, like I said, I probably wouldn't have purchased this very themed paper on my own, but I really like the colors, and I think that it will work well for this page. I was also able to, it also pulled up, and I was able to find a couple pieces from Hooray. And again, I think these came in a kit because I have not purchased any of the Hooray collection. This is from Crate Paper. So just one sheet of paper and this thickers, their foam and glitter thickers set, which I think will work well together. So I have those bits, but it also pulled up a few other things. So when you search on scrapbook.com, it sometimes brings up things that aren't specifically themed, but that would work with that theme. So this was one of those things. It pulled up the Glitter Girl project pad. This is from Shimelle and American Crafts. And I grabbed it because there are so many solid sheets and even glitter sheets in the back of this. So even if I don't use these pattern papers, which I'm not sure if I will or not, I could definitely use some of the solid papers, and they would definitely go with this, well, not that one, but they will definitely go with these other supplies that I've pulled out. So I grabbed that as well. And then that made me think of some other Shimelle supplies that I have. For instance, I have just a couple sheets from Sparkle City, which I'm thinking this side might work along with these other supplies. This was also from a kit. And then I also grabbed the Shimelle sticker book because it obviously coordinates with Glitter Girl. And if I need additional embellishments, I can probably find something in this sticker book that will work. So I grabbed that as well. And then I also, in that search, was able to find a couple other just random things. So this is the Girl Power Thickers set from a Crate Paper girl themed collection, I believe. And then this is a sticker sheet from Stay Magical from Dear Lizzie, and it does have birthday cake, so there are some kind of themey things on here. And I thought some of it, again, could go with the other things I pulled out, and I just wanted to have it out just in case I was able to use those up. I did also want to mention that, of course, I could have used the same collection that I used for my recent birthday themed page, the This is Family collection from Pebbles, but I didn't really want to use the exact same collection I had just used. I just used that collection for 2 pages. I kind of wanted to try something new, and I really liked the idea of pulling things from my stash that I hadn't used. And you can see I clearly have not used these. Again, I don't use a lot of really themey supplies. So that is what I have. I need to choose one of these papers to go cut all the little pieces. I'm going to use one for the frame of the calendar, probably a different one for the month, and then I definitely want to use one of those little highlight squares that will highlight the day of her actual birthday, and then something for the numbers as well. So I'm going to choose papers out of what I have here and go cut those out, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I've already cut out my calendar outline. This is the outline here. It's very delicate, so I'm gonna have to be careful when I pull it off, but my mat obviously isn't too sticky. I've had to use some tape to keep it in place. I have a sheet of white cardstock for my background, and then I've cut the month title out of this glitter cardstock. Both of these are from that Shimelle project pad, the Glitter Girl project pad. I've also cut one of the frames out of the same. It's kind of a gold, but it's a yellow gold glitter. I thought that would be fun for this celebratory page, but I haven't cut the numbers. And the reason I didn't is because this really is kind of a fun and funky page, and the numbers that come in this cut file set are very kind of traditional. They're a serif font, and they look very formal compared to all of the supplies that I've pulled. So instead, I think I'm going to stamp the numbers on my calendar. So I looked through my stamps, and I have a couple options here. I have this super old one from Kelly Perky, but I thought the size would be about right, so I grabbed it. I also have this one from Illustrated Faith. I really like the kind of funky numbers, but I'm a little worried they might be too big. I grabbed it anyway just to see, and then while I was searching through those things, I found a couple other stamps that are kind of birthday themed. Well, this one is definitely birthday themed. This one just has some things on it that are kind of birthday related. So I grabbed both of those. I don't usually do a lot of stamping on my layouts, but because I have these, I thought I might as well try and use them. So that is what I've pulled out in addition to the papers and embellishments that you already saw. So now I just need to put it all together and get the page finished. So as I start pulling all these little bits off of my cutting mat, I just wanted to note a couple things. So first of all, this video is a bit longer than normal. Apparently I was feeling very chatty when I made it, and I did lots of talking, a lot more than I usually do at the beginning. So that made this video quite a bit longer than my normal videos are. But even in all of that chatting, I neglected to mention that this cut file is free. So scrapbook.com is celebrating Christmas already, and they've started lots of their Christmas promotions, including this cut file as a freebie on their site. So I will have this cut file and everything else that I use or show you in this video all linked down below in the description, so you can find all of that there. Go and pick it up and find a creative way to use it. I mentioned a couple ideas at the beginning of this video, but there are tons of ideas out there. So go and do something and then show me. I'd love to see how you use it. Okay, so everything is pulled off of my cut file mat now, and I've used my fine line bottle with some Scotch Tacky adhesive to glue everything down. It was a little bit finicky, so I didn't make you watch that entire process. And now I'm just trying to work out the numbers. So I pulled out that Kelly Perky stamp. The one from Illustrated Faith was just way too big. So I've kept it out because I think I might use it to highlight the number 6, the 6th day of September, which is the birthday that I am documenting here. But I'm definitely going to use these smaller numbers to stamp out all of the days. So I'm just treating this like a normal calendar. I'm stamping each day. Again, I don't make you watch this whole process. It's very repetitive, but eventually I get all the days on there. And I purposefully started on
so the days of the week aren't listed, but I purposefully started one at the end of the first week instead of the beginning of the first week, so that I could highlight the day number 6 and have it a bit lower on the page. Otherwise it would have been way at the top and it would have been just super awkward. So because you can start your calendar on Monday or Sunday, I chose to start it I think that makes it starting on a Sunday instead of a Monday, or the other way around. Anyway, I purposefully moved that date around so that I could have my photos more towards the center of the page. So now I'm just taking that cut apart sheet from Echo Park and cutting it all up. I'm just pulling out the ones that I think I'll want to use, and I'm going to set the rest aside, but I'm going to go ahead and cut up the whole thing just because so many of them were in the center. It just made sense to go ahead and cut the whole thing while I had it out. And I'm thinking about where I want to use all of these. Obviously, I can't use all of them, but I do want to use as many as I can. So I'm thinking about using some as layers behind my photo, and then I'm setting a few aside that I think I might use as embellishments or as a focal point. So I have the 2 photos and then that frame where the date is, and then there's space on the other side for some other kind of embellishment or card. So I'm thinking about using one of those there. Now I'm just looking through the rest of the embellishments and pulling out any that I might want to use, like that cake on that Dear Lizzie sticker sheet. I'm also thinking about a title and what my title might be. So just looking through what I have pulled out and trying to make some decisions. Like I said, this video is quite a bit longer, and a lot of that is due to my kind of hemming and hawing over what I want to do. And I will also say that in the end, this is definitely not my favorite page. It's fine, and I don't hate it. If I hated it, I would have redone it, but I don't hate it. It's just, it didn't quite turn out like I anticipated it would. And yeah, I'm not too worried about it though, because if I decide to, I can just re-scrap these photos. I don't mind having 2 pages for documenting the same photo. In fact, I've got lots of other photos from this day, so I could just scrap those in a different way. I definitely won't throw it out, or I'm definitely going to keep the page. It's just not my best work, but it all can't be your best work, right? There's always going to be some pages that don't quite turn out like you had envisioned, that aren't quite up to your own personal standards. And I'm sure my standards are higher for myself than they would be for anybody else, just like we all do, or we're our own worst critics, right? So anyway, it doesn't turn out great. It's still okay. It's a story documented. That's what really matters. So I'm working on the layers behind my photo. I really liked the B side of that Hooray paper. It had kind of this sprinkly, confetti-like print on pink, and she has a girl dog, so pink seems perfectly appropriate here. So I'm going to map both of the photos with that, and then just use some other bits. I went through the Shimelle paper pad, the project pad, and pulled out a couple papers that I thought would work. There's that kind of tealy cloud paper that you can see there, and then a darker pink, which I thought would complement kind of the lighter pinks, and then a polka dot one that's kind of a ombre pink, purpley blue paper as well. So I'm just cutting up little bits. Those cut aparts are obviously 3x4, so they're not going to go around my 3x4 photos. So I just am cutting kind of chunks off of them and offsetting them a little bit, putting them on a slight angle, and hiding the edges so you can't see that they're smaller than my photos, and they're just adding, you know, a little bit of interest, a little bit of color and pattern behind my photos to make it stand out. Otherwise this page would be super plain. Because I'm using a white background and because the cut file itself is pretty thin, it's not too bulky, it would just look really plain if I didn't add some color and pattern behind my photos. So that's going to make them stand out on the page and just add some interest as well. So that's what I'm doing, just layering things up like I usually do. I will overlap these photos on the page, so that's why I'm kind of setting them there like this. They'll both be at a slight angle and slightly overlapping, since there is some blank space on the photo that I don't mind covering up. Just working out all the little details here of the layers. I'm being very choosy at the moment. Okay, so there they are. There's the layers done. I'm putting them on the page where basically they're going to sit, trying to work it out. The spacing here is really tight, which is part of the problem. So there isn't a lot of space on either side of the photo. I'm not crazy about the fact that the photo is sitting so close to the edge of the page, but because it's a calendar and because that day 6 sits where it does, I can't change that. So the photos have to have to sit that close to the edge, or I'd have to move one to the other side, and I didn't really want to split up the photos. I would much rather have them together on the same side. So yeah, to get them to fit there, they have to be that close to the edge of the page. So I'm just going with it. So I am adding another layer of that teal paper. I felt like it needed just a little something else. It was not standing out enough from the white background on the bottom of that photo or at the top. So I just added a little bit of teal, added a bit more of that color, made it stand out a bit. And then I am also popping up the photo that's on top, the one on the left, just with some fun foam. Just adding a couple pieces, and that's going to make it stand out a bit more. It's the better of the two photos, so I'm kind of using the dimension to draw your attention to it. And then I'm also adding that frame that I cut from the glitter paper to the 6th day. And you can see I didn't stamp a 6 there. I'm planning to use that larger Illustrated Faith stamp set to put a 6, which I do, and you'll see that, but I end up covering it up because I just didn't like it. So anyway, getting a bit ahead of myself at the moment. Right now I'm thinking about my title. So I really want to use that birthday thicker from the Hooray thicker set, the phrase thickers. They're foam thickers with a chipboard kind of cover on it, so printed chipboard. Birthday, and then I'm looking for a happy. I thought about using these stickers from the Shimelle project pad, but the gold came off when I tried to peel it off of the sheet. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but that wasn't going to work. So I instead decided to pull a happy from the other set of thickers that I had there from that crepe paper girl collection that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but like I said, everything will be linked down below. So it says happy birthday now, and I have these 2 cards that I want to fussy cut. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to cut out these balloons and that little it's your day phrase as well. Don't make you watch that. Again, you know how to fussy cut things, I'm sure. But I want to place that it's your day kind of in between the photos at the bottom there. Everything's sitting pretty high on the page, so I want to kind of extend things down just a little bit. And I thought that would be a good way to do that. And then I thought that the balloons nestled really well into the title there on the right-hand side of the page. So here is where I pull out that Illustrated Faith numbers stamp set, and I grabbed the 6, and there are actually two 6s on this stamp set. So one is a solid and one has kind of a hole where the hole in the 6 would normally be. So I thought I could layer them. So I thought I would do a solid in a pink ink and then do a black ink over the top of it, which is what I do. I grab some ink from my stash. I tried a couple. I ended up going with a super old pigment ink from American Crafts. This ink is no longer available, and my ink pad is drying out, so it's at the end of its life. But I thought I would, it did match the colors in the papers pretty well, so I thought I would go ahead and use it. And then I'm just using my black ink. This is VersaFine Black Onyx ink. It's a pigment ink. Or no, I'm sorry, it's a dye ink. And I stamped that over the top to give it a layered look, and I immediately don't like it. So I'm letting it sit there for now, but I'm thinking about ways that I can cover it up and fix it. It just doesn't look right. It's too bold, and it stands out too much on the page, and I don't like that it has the white border around it. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about what I can do to fix it, and in the meantime, I'm just carrying on and getting things stuck down to the page that I know I want to keep there, and I will find a way to fix it here in a minute. So I'm adding some foam dots behind these 2 embellishments. I added some just at the top of the balloons, and then I stuck the bottom of the balloons down to the page, just directly down to the page, so it kind of gives it some movement and makes it look like the balloons are lifting up off the page. And then I'm just adding some foam to the bottom of this It's Your Day little piece because it's going to overlap those photos, and that photo is popped up on foam. I only need the foam at the bottom. So there is that little piece of cake from the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet again, just trying to find a good place to put it. And then I'm going to go through the rest of the embellishments and see what else I can find that will work here. And I end up pulling out a ton of embellishments, which again may be why this page doesn't sit completely well with me, because I don't normally use quite this many little bits and pieces, so it feels a little bit busy. in the end. Not overly so. It's definitely, you know, still more subdued than some people's taste. But for me, I don't typically add this much stuff to a page. So yeah, it's fine. Like I said, it's fine. I'm living with it. It's going in my album, and maybe someday I'll like it better. Actually, when I saw the pictures that I had taken, I actually liked the pictures a lot better than I liked it in person, which is strange. It's usually the other way around. But yeah, anyway. So just adding all the little things that I can find that work for this page. So there was a Hip Hip Hooray sticker from that Dear Lizzie sticker sheet. There's a party hat from the Hooray thickers. There is a little phrase that says "My Girl" from that crepe paper set. And then there's some hearts on that thicker set as well that I'm just kind of sprinkling around. I added a couple more stickers from the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet, a heart, and a little phrase I think that says "Celebrate." And then looking at the Shimelle stickers as well, but I don't end up adding any from that sticker sheet. I did add a little chipboard sticker that says "Fun" at the top of the photo, but I end up taking that off. And now I'm looking through the Shimelle sticker book to try and find some place to add some journaling. So I found a little journal spot. These stickers, of course, are super, super thin. So to make it work over the top of the stamping and the cut file, I just added it to a sheet of copy paper. This is just printer paper. And I'm just gonna quickly trim around that. I do end up actually adding a frame around it, a little mat around it in that same pink paper that I used to mat my photos. But I think I still would have needed that printer paper behind it so that you couldn't see that pattern through the little journaling spot, and so that you could easily read my journaling. So I think I would have had to do that either way. But it was blending in a little bit too much to the white background, so I think that pink matte just made it stand out enough that you notice it, and that is where my journaling will go. I believe I do that off camera. So I just tucked it in right below the title and overlapped some of the stickers that I had there just to make it look like it fits a bit better. And now I'm just playing around with the embellishments again, trying to figure out exactly where I want all these little pieces. I do go back through after I stop filming and add some glue behind all of these chipboard pieces. If you've used chipboard thickers ever, then you know they don't stick very well. And even though they were fairly stuck at the moment, I knew that I would come back to this page in a few months and find them at the bottom of my page protector if I didn't add some glue. So I just used my fine line bottle and just added a tiny little bit of glue behind all of those little pieces just to make sure they stayed put. And right now I'm adding some more foam adhesive behind a few of the pieces that are tucked in around that photo that's popped up, just so that they sit flat on the page and aren't wonky. And there was where I pulled off that little fun chipboard. It just was standing out too much. It was too dark. I pick up the page and look at it quite a bit because it's just not sitting right with me. So I need a different perspective. So every once in a while I pick it up and look at it straight on and see if that gives me some better idea about what needs to be fixed. So here is where I got the idea to take one of the squares from my cutting mat. So when I cut the frame of the calendar, it left all those little squares on my cutting mat in that paper from Shimelle. I just pulled one of those off the cutting mat and stuck it right behind that glitter frame to fill in that spot. So I feel like that draws your attention a bit more to the 6th day of the month. And then I'm going to add a number 6 in the middle of that. I pulled out a couple options. I had these foam ones. I think those are from a Shimelle collection, and then I had the Heidi Swapp ones there as well. I also had these Doodlebug flat number stickers, but they didn't stand out enough, so I'm going to end up going with the Heidi Swapp one. However, it still feels like it's not standing out enough on that pattern paper, so I'm going to end up punching just a circle of white paper and setting the number 6 on top of that, and then putting that into the square. But right now I pulled out the number 14 because she turned 14 on September 6th, so I wanted to get that on the page somewhere. So I used those same thickers. Once I had decided to use the Heidi Swapp ones, I pulled out the 1 and 4 from that set, and I'm just adding it there, kind of tucked in below the photo. It's definitely not something, it's not part of the title. It's just like an extra little embellishment. So there is where I used a 1 1/4 inch circle punch to punch out just a piece of white paper and add it behind the number. And then I feel like that finally makes the numbers stand out exactly the right amount. And I can move on with the page. So I felt like I needed something else, like it needed splatters or it needed enamel dots or something, but I couldn't find anything to use. And then I remembered that there are these tiny little circle stickers in the Shimelle sticker book. They're like little dots on clear sticker paper. I think they're meant for planners, but they work perfectly as just little little sprinkles, like enamel dots, except they're flat. So and the colors, of course, are perfect for this page, so I sprinkle those basically everywhere, just kind of all around the photo and the embellishments, and it just looks like confetti, like if you had just kind of thrown confetti over the page and it just landed where it landed. And I actually do like that. I'm glad that I added those. Here right now I'm just adding a bit of foam behind that My Girl chipboard piece because it was not sitting flat on the page. It was sitting wonky and it needed to have a little bit extra at the bottom of that piece for it to sit straight. So that's what I was doing there. And then I'm just going to finish sprinkling around these tiny stickers, and then that's going to be it. So there are close-up photos coming up, and don't forget to follow the link in the description to get this cut file for yourself. There are, like I said, tons of ways you can use this. I really think I might try it as kind of an overview of December, maybe once December is over, just highlighting, one photo from each day or something like that. So yeah, I'd love to see what you do with it. So be sure to tag me if you do use this cut file, and I will see you all back here very soon.